bent. Nigga, where am I going? Drop the four with my cup, now I'm floating. I can't feel a thing, to be real, I just go through the motions. Where am I going? Nigga, I'm in deep like the ocean. I've been in my bag, everybody around me, I'm ghosting. Where am I going? Drop the four with my cup, now I'm floating. I can't feel a thing, to be real, I just go through the motions. Where am I going?
We are going to another episode of HardFoul Radio. This is the show that values time and puts God first. Appreciate you guys for tuning in today. Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Lot to talk about, lot to get into. Let's get started. So look, I went on TikTok early yesterday and I was like, there's a couple things here, man. First off, if you are a fan of basketball, enjoy the games. You are what we are witnessing. Game 1 was fantastic. Defense, shot making, physicality. If you love the sport of basketball, like truly love the sport, don't care who's playing, don't care, like if you were the kind of person who could just go watch dudes play at a rec center or the YMCA, this is the kind of series for you. This is what Adam Silver's been campaigning the last couple weeks, talking about. I want basketball to feel like the Super Bowl, where we don't care who the teams are, we just want to go watch really good basketball. Now, I don't think we're there yet, but that was product-wise as good as we're going to get. I mean, everything from, again, the physicality, the defense. These are both two great defensive teams. You're seeing them at stretches, pick up half court. You're seeing one-on-one defenses played amazingly. You're seeing guys go in there, get hard, tough, physical offensive rebounds. You're seeing great shot making. Lou Dort hits 5 threes. Obi Toppin hits a couple threes. You're seeing SGA, who I do think pressed a little bit. It was the first time I think I've saw him go, you know what? I don't want to start the series off with the quote-unquote, I'm just foul baiting narrative. He took a lot more threes. He took 11 shots in the first quarter. It was the first time I think he truly played out of his game, did not play the style in which he is the best version of himself. I think he will rebound, obviously. He's a great player. I have my complaints, but I think that will fix. But everything about last night was amazing if you genuinely just like basketball. I mean, the Thunder showed why. Both these teams showed exactly who they were last night, by the way. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. And don't be confused because you get these glimpses or these moments, and that changes your perspective on them. The Thunder are the best team in the NBA from start to finish the season, whether they win a championship or not. They were 80-19 going into last night's game. Think about that. 80 wins before the NBA Finals are one of 3 teams ever. And last night, you could see throughout the majority of the game, they were the better team. You clearly, if you just watched both teams play and you're like, who won 80 games? It was clearly the Thunder. They were better from start to finish. The Pacers were clearly who they were, which is a team that is led by a point guard who gets everybody involved, is not a score-first guy, even though he can shoot, even though he can score. Well, that's not what makes him great. They are a team built on depth and late-game heroics. They operate in the fourth quarter better than anybody. Tony hit the text. He was like, hey, down 9 in the first quarter is a win. Emphasized. I said going to the fourth quarter, if this is within 9-10 points, Thunder got to feel nervous. And what we get in the fourth quarter, again, the Thunder, clearly the better team. Clearly the better team. Fourth quarter, execution. This is where some of that age is starting to show. I know we're all trying to dismiss it because they've already made it to the finals. But Chet not playing as well as he could have, or he has played in this postseason. Jalen Williams, who is their second best player, their third-team All-NBA guy, one of their all-defensive guys. Lou Dort was the second best player last night. And there's an argument, again, I think it's the first time SGA really pressed. There's an argument that Lou Dort was actually the best player for the Thunder last night for multiple long periods and long stretches last night. Problem with that is you're not winning the NBA Finals, especially against this Pacers team, if Lou Dort is your best player for long stretches of the game. But the Thunder were great start to finish. or start to about 3/4, halfway through the fourth quarter, and then the Pacers do what they've been doing. They execute. They keep the game close. They just keep running and shooting. They're in great shape. These two teams, and maybe this is a weird compliment to give to a professional athlete, these are extremely high quality in shape athletes, extremely high quality in shape teams. These teams are just running from start to finish. They don't stop. Rick Carlisle was using, which I thought was brilliant, and Rick, to his credit, gives me very much like these Bruce Bochy type vibes where, no, he's not one of the greatest coaches ever, greatest managers ever, but you get situationally in the playoffs. We saw him do this against LeBron. We saw him do this last year, even when they got to Houston Conference Finals, and now again in the NBA Finals. He just does these little tweaks, these little changes, and shout out to him doing the volleyball substitutions where it's all 5 people, or the hockey substitutions, all 5 guys at once during stretches, because he's like, hey, we need to keep this pace up, because he is aware and he is playing to the strength of, I have 10 guys that I trust. I don't have 10 all-stars. I'm not as deep as OKC. Hell, we're not as high-end talented as OKC. We probably weren't as high-end talented as the Knicks. We weren't as high-end talented as the Cavs. But if we keep this pace up, we keep running, we keep going, by the time it gets to the fourth quarter and it is shown up all playoffs, we will absolutely be in the best position to win, and we will take advantage of it. And what more can you say about Tyrese Halliburton, man? This is the kind of stuff. I love sports, right? And I love sports a lot more probably than I should. These are the kind of things that you just love to see. I compared it to Dirk's run. When Dirk's run isn't the most impressive statistically, Dirk's run isn't the most wins ever against playoff teams, or the most teams that won X amount of games in the regular season. There's no one determining factor that made Dirk's run in 2011 legendary, special. There's no number that you could pull out that says, oh, that's one of the greatest playoff runs of all time. In fact, it's maybe the greatest playoff run of all time. But the reality is, anyone who was there to watch it, anyone who was there to see it, anyone who witnessed what Dirk did in 2011 knows how special, knows how legendary, just knows how incredible that moment in time was. And that's what Halliburton's on right now. The game winners, I don't know what he's averaging. That's what I said when I push back against the number people. I don't know what Tyrese Halliburton is averaging. I don't know how many points. I don't know how many assists. I just know his team keeps on winning. He keeps hitting clutch shot after clutch shot. He keeps the pace going. He is, in my opinion, on paper, continuing to beat teams that are on paper better than the team that he is currently playing with. It's one of those moments. It's just special. Enjoy what you are watching, because we don't get a lot of opportunities like this. Again, Dirk's run in 2011, I have no idea what his points per game were. We get so enamored. LeBron put such a otherworldly perspective on numbers for us that, oh, LeBron was averaging 35, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, doing all these crazy things. He had the 51-8 game. We got so obsessed with the numbers LeBron was putting up, because they were real-time Wilt-esque numbers, like numbers that guys are never going to touch again in the history of the NBA. And we're so just numbers. You don't need numbers to know why what you're watching is special. And again, I wrap this all up with, if you love the sport of basketball, that was a jersey agnostic, excuse me, that was a jersey agnostic game. It did not matter that they said Pacers Thunders on the jersey. It did not matter that it said Dort or Toppin. There was no different in last night's game from a quality perspective. If that was Knicks, Lakers, Durant, Curry, James, Harden. This was supposed to be LeBron, James Harden. You know what I'm trying to say there. That was a jersey agnostic, label agnostic. That was just some great basketball, and I'm excited. What a wonderful way to kick off the NBA Finals. Adam Silver, the NBA is not the Super Bowl yet, and I don't know if it ever will be. And some of that is just due to the amount of games that are played and the urgency, 1 game versus 7 game series, and that's always going to be tough to get around. But when you look at that, that was amazing basketball. That was brilliance. Between Tyrese, Lou Dort, SGA, like everybody was just, it was an amazing game of NBA basketball. Pacers win. Congrats to them. I think the Thunder are going to tie this up. But I also say this before we close out here on the first segment. I've been so wrong this entire postseason, and I can laugh at it. It's fine. I was so wrong with my playoff bracket that me thinking the entire 3 to 4 days, I tweeted this out yesterday, thinking the 3 to 4 days leading up to this, yeah, the Thunder are going to win. Yeah, the Thunder are the better team. Thunder in 6. And maybe even Thunder in 5. Made me think last night, I was like, you know what? Pacers are going to win this series, aren't they? Because, again, I can laugh at myself. I can acknowledge it. I've been so wrong. I have been the kiss of death to almost every single team that I have been like, yeah, they're going to win. Yeah, they're going to win. Minnesota's my one exception. They made it to the Western Conference Finals. I was like, Pacers in 6, man. And I don't really believe that. I just think that's the way this playoffs have gone. But, man, what an amazing game 1 of NBA basketball in the finals. Pacers up 1-0. Oh, man. A lot to get to today. We are only on an hour show due to some personal time restrictions. I have a bachelor party that I got to get to this weekend, so we're on a different schedule, only the hour. When we come back, what the Thunder need to do to bounce back in Game 2, what the Pacers need to do to continue this. Also, some top 5 QB talk, which I think we're all just missing the point here on what is considered a top 5 quarterback. This is HardFoul Radio. We'll be back momentarily. You know when strength of schedule actually matters? Strength of schedule actually matters to have those conversations when it's too late. Strength of schedule matters when it's the middle of the season, game 9, game 10, game 11, and it's like, okay, you're down the stretch strength of schedule. That matters because that's how the teams are actually playing that year. You find out, are their rookies good? Are their free agents contributing to the team? Are they well coached? That's when those kind of conversations actually matter and start to show up and mean something. When you say, well, they were bad last year. Okay, they were bad last year. What does that have to do with this year? If you believe at all that the team had a competent offseason, front office, players just get better, the Chiefs, during this dynasty run, that's one of the things that's flipped for them. Their offense, 3 years ago, when Mahomes was the MVP, you would have went into the season going, man, we're playing against a top-flight offense. You know when strength of schedule actually matters? Strength of schedule actually matters to have those conversations when it's too late. Strength of schedule matters when it's the middle of the season, game 9, game 10, game 11, and it's like, okay, you're down the stretch strength of schedule. That matters because that's how the teams are actually playing that year. You find out, are their rookies good? Are their free agents contributing to the team? Are they well coached? That's when those kind of conversations actually matter and start to show up and mean something. When you say, well, they were bad last year. Okay, they were bad last year. What does that have to do with this year? If you believe at all that the team had a competent offseason, front office, players just get better, the Chiefs, during this dynasty run, that's one of the things that's flipped for them. Their offense, 3 years ago, when Mahomes was the MVP, you would have went into the season going, man, we're playing against a top-flight offense. You know when strength of schedule actually matters? Strength of schedule. And we are back. This is HardFoul Radio. Appreciate everybody for tuning in today. So, talked a lot about the Pacers. Again, that was a great game of basketball. I don't want to come in here and be negative. I want to there was a lot to celebrate last night. It was a really fun game, really fun time. But what the Thunder need to do to bounce back, right, is and this is always one of the simplest things to do, but it's also one of the hardest because everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, right? And the Thunder thought their plan was going to continue to work. The Thunder, continued to play great defense last night, continued to play their style, extra physical, make the refs call stuff, which last night, by the way, was a great example of what I think even fans wanted as far as from the officiating, which is make it feel like it's both sides can do this. Don't have this, it's annoying and it feels unfair when the Thunder are allowed to play 0-4 Detroit Pistons defense, but then you touch Shea and now it's like, we're back to 2025. Like, just let it go both ways. And I think they did last night. The Thunder have to rebound by playing the way they need to play, but for all 4 quarters. Know that I feel like the Thunder are very much a knockout artist where they play this super tough physical brand of defense. Shea hits shots, Chet chips in, Lu Dort hits a couple threes, Jalen Williams continues to be what he's been, and they almost expect for you to just roll over, to knock you out, right? They are so clearly the better team. I feel this way about the Ravens from time to time. This to me was a maturation of Lamar. Is at one point, I think the Ravens, who have been super talented these last 3 or 4 years, played a knockout style where they just beat you so bad in the first 2 to 3 quarters, they didn't have to worry about the fourth quarter, which is why they had some odd games when the games were close. They just thought, okay, we're going to run you over, we're going to beat you up, we're going to be more physical, we're going to play great defense, and you're just not even going to want to compete in the fourth. And that's what the Thunder feel like to me as well. That, we can just beat you up so well in the first 3 quarters that you're not even be around for the fourth quarter. And then they ran into Indiana, who that's all they want to do is play whatever game you want, quarters 1 through 3. We are going to be there in the fourth quarter. This is a great NBA Finals for depth, by the way. For all the people that said, you don't need depth, it's star power this, star power that. When your star power is not LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, the depth matters a lot more conveniently when you don't have some of the greatest players to ever play the game of basketball. And so OKC, first off, SGA, I know people are going to complain. Who cares? I did not like And I thought it was, I can't prove this, but it felt like he took game one and said, I want to show everybody why I'm the MVP, and I don't want the narrative around this series to be, oh, I am a free throw merchant, abuser, fouls, refs, etc. He wanted to come out, and he was taking multiple step back threes, which is not saying he can't do it, but that's not what makes him special. Yes, take advantage of the fact that guys are going to be scared in how they guard you, which basically means you get to walk into shots by the time the fourth quarter rolls around. You get to get away with some push-offs. And these are all, and I'm not, this isn't complaining. This is the reality. When SGA is at his best, this is the best version of him. The mid-range, getting to the free throw line. He's obviously a great two-way player. The Thunder there's no reason for him to be taking 11 shots in the first quarter, several of them step back threes, to try to prove a point that he's not just some free throw guy. Again, James Harden never got the calls in the playoffs that SGA got. He kept playing that way, though. And if you're SGA, play the way that works for you. Play the way that works for this team, because the reality is where your youth is going to be exposed is in these crunch time moments. Like, there is expectations, and I think they clearly showed in Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren. You know who doesn't really have expectations outside to play defense? Lou Dort. Lou Dort hit 5 threes in game 1. Lou Dort's playing. Lou Dort knows exactly who he is, and he doesn't give a rip what anybody says. And that's including rip what I say, because I don't like Lou Dort. I think Lou Dort does some things that make me go, wish he was in the league. But neither here nor there. The Thunder, the young guys, this is the second youngest team to ever make a finals. And while that's incredibly impressive, and that's part of why Shai's the MVP, because he has this super young team who's probably only getting better and better. This isn't probably even in their best version, potentially. This is where you got to step. Yeah, you had 30 points, but it took you how many shots? Shai wasn't efficient. Shai felt like he was out of his game. Be you. Chet Holmgren, be you. Be the guy who is, no, you're not going to out-physical Miles Turner. Sorry. You didn't out-physical Rudy Gobert. You didn't out-physical, some of these other guys who ran to the place. You didn't out-physical Jokic. Be you, though. You're extremely skilled. Pick and pop. Pick and roll to the rim. You are a 7-footer who's got a handle. You can play the defense that you play, because everybody can crash the board super hard. You can take the ball out of the basket, take it down court. Be you. Be who got you here. You guys have won 80 games before the NBA Finals. Be those players. Caruso knows exactly who the hell he is. I made a joke where the Thunder almost played too violently or too fast, because in the first half, the way they were running into each other, like, they collided with each other on rebounds. The hard screen, quote unquote, in the second quarter, I think that Caruso, where he fell down, people like, oh my gosh, what a hard screen. I'm like, no, Caruso was just running 100 miles an hour, because all the role players stepped up last night for OKC. Really, where they did not succeed is with their stars. And if you believe in your 3 stars, and they should, they'll be fine. They will rebound. They will be back in this series. But all the role players, they were just running around, playing super hard defense, playing physical, getting in, like, they did what they needed to do. So if you're the Thunder and you want to bounce back in this series, just your stars need to play like themselves. Chet needs to step up. Jay Will needs to step up. They need to make shots. SGA, be the player that you are, who cares about the narratives, who cares about the style, who cares about what it looks like. You're trying to win an NBA championship. If you're the Pacers now, on their side of this, you want every game to look exactly like last night. You want every game to look exactly like last night. You want the physicality, because, again, you have 9-10 guys who you trust to be in the games. 6 Pacers were in double figures last night. 6. And their leading scorer had 19 points, Pascal Siakam. Not a single guy had 20. That's perfect. Again, what makes Tyrese Halliburton great, what makes point guards great, and this has always been an issue of mine, I'm really upset that I didn't embrace Halliburton more early on. I was someone who pushed back a lot on the scoring point guard. Now, I have learned to love some of these players, but I pushed back on D Rose. I pushed back on early Russ. I pushed back on not so much John Wall. I think John Wall's actually injuries derailed it, but I think John Wall is actually one of the better point scoring to passing point guards. But Tyrese getting the entire Indiana team involved, Tyrese having the ability and the wherewithal to, I don't need 25 points. I don't need 30 points. If I just get my guys involved, I get everybody in space, I get them the ball where they're most comfortable to score, 6 guys in double figures is worth 2 or 3 guys having 30-point games. And there's no real pressure on anybody. They got to play pressure-free. Because Siakam doesn't have to give you 30 points. Halliburton doesn't have to give you 30 points. Why is Magic Johnson, I'm not calling Tyrese Magic, but why is Magic one of the greatest players ever, a consensus top 5 player with by far the lowest scoring average? Magic doesn't score 20 points a game for his career. The other guys we have in the consideration, Mike is at 30. LeBron's in the high 20s. Kobe's in the high 20s. Bird. Duncan. Like, the Magic could dominate a game. I saw yesterday the stat, the 6 times that the most assists per games in the finals, the top 6, all Magic Johnson. All Magic. Tyrese being able to dominate the game without scoring a bunch of points, keeping everybody in line, getting everybody to play correctly. No one's got to get you 25. No one's got to get you 30. The Thunder, SGA was playing last night like he had to get 30. So the Pacers, you keep it close, you keep the depth. Halliburton be a true point guard, set up the offense. And you have to run because even though it's physical, even though it's hard, you don't want to play OKC getting to set up their defense every single possession. You're not going to win the game like that. So keeping the game fast, keeping the game intense. Yes, it's going to be physical. Yes, they're going to press you and try to slow you down so they can set up their half-court offense. But there's multiple guys in Indiana who can Halliburton can outlet to. There were times where Neesmith had the ball, McDonald had the ball, and Halliburton was off because they were committing so hard to him that he was able to spread out and readjust the offense. Indiana, that's how you win the series. The Thunder need their stars to step up because the role players did their job. The Pacers just keep doing it because it's essentially a team of role players. Like Halliburton and Siakam have separated themselves, obviously. They're great, but they don't have to play the same way the Thunder superstar does. They don't need a 30-point MVP performance every night. So if you're the Thunder, Chet needs to make shots. Jay Will needs to make shots. SGA, play your game. Don't try to sit there and be something you're not. Don't try to sit there and prove a point. And again, I could be totally off, and SGA could say, nah, he's full of shit. It was the way the defense was guarding me. I felt comfortable with that. It was a style of play that he had not played all season. So, again, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I've never had an issue with being wrong. But I'm going to say it how I feel. I'm going to say it how I interpreted it watching the game. And again, cannot state this enough. What a wonderful game of basketball, man. Just a wonderful game of basketball. When we come back, takes terrible enough for Twitter, plus top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. This is HardFoul Radio. Tyrese Halliburton, who is a guy who I was never super high on or super crazy about, even when about 2 years ago he started to build up a lot of steam and momentum because of the 2010 games. Look, I'm wrong. If you want to go to pure basketball, right? There's been a lot of talk this season or this postseason on the internet about we're back in the too big era of basketball. And I've called all these people stupid because that's just basketball. Power forward and center have existed forever. Because we've had LeBron and Steph and this Warriors run, we have felt like, oh, everyone can play positionless basketball. Well, not everyone has LeBron James and Steph Curry and Draymond Green. So no, everyone can't play positionless basketball. Point guards, especially the old school point guard of let me run an offense. Let me get my guys into position. I know we love the scoring point guards. We love Ja. We love Russ. We love these guys who can get you 20 plus, 25 plus a night. Tyrese Halliburton is a true point guard. And as someone who grew up being such a big fan of Chris Paul, it is a disservice to him, and I'll say it, stupid on my part, for not ever acknowledging him or giving him the proper credit he deserved.
I mean, like, yeah, Luffy's on the ceiling, and we've established, like, something interesting One Piece has been established where we are in the final saga, and Luffy cannot get any stronger, potentially, unless something changes. So we're on the ceiling with him. He's capped out. So what can the other crew do? Like, we have a Holy Knight situation where we're assuming all the Holy Knights are Admiral level,
Yes.
right? And Luffy can handle them all, but that seems kind of lame.
So we all know there is with Sean Combs is in a criminal case, and Sean Combs is, by all accounts, a piece of shit, a horrible person, and has done some really awful things.
Horrible person.
Horrible fucking man. Like, by the end of this, put that nigga under like 3 prisons. Several people have been coming to testify.
Thanks.
One of said people that came to testify was one of Tony's favorite artists, Kid Cudi. Shout out to Kid Cudi, man. Great artist. Put out some great music in the world. Has done some great things. By all accounts, maybe a little weird, but seems like a really good person. Why are you laughing already? Why you? I mean, if you want to be a part of one of the coolest and most unique communities, don't forget to like and subscribe.
But that interaction with Summers, to me, was the first time seeing her be the assassin that we all know Robin is, and it was so refreshing. Like, Robin comes in, she's not in to, like, kill the guy. That's not really her plan. Her plan is to stop him. And if he dies, he dies, but, like, at the end of the day, I'm not stronger than him. I'm gonna cheat it. I'm gonna make a clone, and I'm going to do what you always do with a clone, which is I send my clone on a suicide adventure, because who cares? I just don't want the rest of the Straw Hats to get outclassed. Like I talk about all the time, like Frankie's one of my other favorite Straw Hats, and he doesn't take any L's because he doesn't really fight.
Start looking at your new stars. Look at your Anthony Edwards, dynamic, now a great shooter, led the NBA in 3-point field goal percentage. Tyrese Halliburton, maybe the best pure point guard in the sport that we've seen since Chris Paul, in terms of how he can run an offense. He can have an impact without, maybe the only star who can have a true impact on a game without giving you 20 points. SGA led the NBA in scoring, back-to-back 1 seeds on a team that has enough talent to truly be a dynasty-level team in the Oklahoma City Thunder. And of course, Jalen Brunson, for if you grew up when I did and you're around my age, for all the talk about the New York Knicks, and it's a historic franchise, but they've never been great. They've been good. They had the couple years with Melo and Amari, and that was exciting. But Jalen Brunson getting the Knicks to the Eastern Conference Finals and potentially the NBA Finals, we now have a great basketball team in New York. Tyrese Halliburton, who is a... And we are back. This is HardFoul Radio. Appreciate everybody for tuning in this morning. I know it's too early for sports, so I appreciate you giving me this time. So, I was supposed to have a graphic up for it, and I know, I'm sorry, it's been a busy week, so I apologize, my graphic's not ready yet. But it was supposed to be takes terrible enough for Twitter, and again, I take in way too much of this stuff, and so it is but I don't expect you guys to. This is my job, it's not your job, so let me filter through the crap and then give it to you. But sometimes I just gotta say it how people say it, because I just want to know if it sounds as ridiculous. So eventually, again, I'll have the graphic and I'll have some other effects going on. But takes, terrible. These are the two takes that I heard the last couple of days that I just think are awful. And I'm going to do my best to say word for word. And as a fun game, I'm not going to say who said the take. I'm just going to repeat it and just see if it sounds as awful to you guys as it did to me. First one. If SGA wins this championship, he's a top 5 point guard of all time. Because you got to think about it. There's him. There's Magic. There's Curry. The only point guards to really lead their teams to a title being clearly the best player. Chris Paul didn't do this. And Isaiah Thomas. Apologize. This person did say Isaiah Thomas. Chris Paul never did this. Steve Nash never did this. There's other guys, but if SGA wins a title, he's a top 5 point guard of all time. Let me read the other quote too before I go off. That's an interesting opinion from Melo. A guy who was just a one-way player. Look, I love the Knicks, and I loved Melo. But Melo could just score. That was all he did. He wasn't as good as some of these other guys who were two-way players or could do other things on the basketball court. He was just a scorer. So why is he criticizing this guy? Let me attack both of these really quick. The first one, SGA is not top 5 point guard if he wins a title. I already had the discussion with Tony and Will, and I know they're going to say that I'm hating again, and that's cool. SGA is not a top 5 point guard. At some point, we have to just acknowledge, just give credit where credit is due. SGA is amazing. SGA's season, and it's anecdotal. This singular season is amazing. It is. MVP, led the league in scoring, 68-win team, 80 wins before the finals. Everything about the season SGA has done, absolutely amazing. Shout out to him. Great player, great season, great moment in time. We have to stop disqualifying guys that played 15-plus years at an incredibly high level. The Stocktons, the Pauls, Isaiah Thomas, Magic, Curry. I know this person said Magic, Curry were above him, but like, you gotta, if a guy has a extended Hall of Fame career, one season does not make you better than him, even if you win a title. It just doesn't. I'm not sorry. Also, and I hope Tyrese Halliburton starts to change this again. What are we calling a point guard? Because we got to stop. We got to stop. When you say point guard, like, that needs to mean something. I know LeBron made us all go transitionless basketball or positionless basketball and all that stuff, and that's great. But we got to clarify, what is a point guard? Why is Magic special? Why was Isaiah Thomas special? Steph, I know, the best thing he does is shoot, but Steph is a true point guard. If you watch the way they run a different kind of offense because of the amount of gravity and the kind of way people have to play defense on Steph because he's the greatest shooter ever. But Steph can run an offense. He can pass. He's always averaged around 5-6 assists, if not more. Like, he is a true passer, can play the point guard position. SJ is a combo guard, a scoring guard. And again, guys that played high-level basketball, Hall of Fame level basketball for well over a decade, one title does not wash all that out. Like, I get it. We love rings. I get it. They are a huge part of the story of the NBA. But I was saying the other day, and this not even to put SJ in this convo or really bring this conversation back, saying Mike is a 6-time champ and he went 6-0 in finals is almost discrediting to his career. Why not talk about the fact he's got 10 scoring titles and 9 first-team all-defense? Talk about the fact of he was giving you 35 points a game when guys could clothesline. Like, there's other things you can do besides just say, oh, he won a title, so that makes him better than the guy who didn't win a title. So the SGA being a top 5 thing, terrible. The Melo scoring. Look, man. Scoring, and I know, again, great players trick us all the time. They do. When you are great and we acknowledge it and we represent what you do as a form of how great you are, we start to think, maybe that's how you have to be great. We start doing copycat stuff. You're a quarterback and you play this way. You're an NBA player and you play a certain style. scoring will always be the most important thing you can do on a basketball court. It just will be. I know LeBron and the triple doubles and the ability to do pretty much everything at a high level. That is not the only way to be great. Scoring is still the number one skill. Because guess what? Assists don't matter if you can't score. Points per game will always be if you are a guy who can get you 30 points a game versus a guy, I know it sounds great if your guy gets, most guys can't get you 20-10. There's a handful of players in the history of basketball who've ever been able to get you that stat line. And yes, 20-10 is amazing because that could represent 35 to 40 points. The other guys, really 40 to 50 points, I'm sorry, you can't math, it's early. Scoring will always be the number one skill. So these guys that have tried to revisionist history because of LeBron's unique and unicorn ability to be great at so many things, to act like scoring's not still the most important thing in the world. And guess what? LeBron's not going down as the all-time assist leader. He's not going down as the all-time rebounder. He is going down as what, though? The all-time scoring leader. Scoring, these people that want to say, oh, well, this player's not as great because all he could do was score. Like, there's people, and it's so bad, and this is why this just takes terrible enough for Twitter, because this is the guy on Twitter who's sitting on his couch, eating a bag of chips, watching a basketball game, going, all Luka Doncic could do is score 27 points a game. He can't play defense. He can't do that. Are we being for real? And those are people on their couch, and those are fans, and they have an excuse. These are actual analysts paid way too much money to discuss sports, and they're getting these off. Come on now. Come on now. We got to be better than this, man. We got to be better than this. When we come back, remember, it's only an hour today. When we come back, we are going to discuss the top 5 quarterbacks in football and why it's okay to say number 5 isn't in the same tier as 1 through 4. This is HardFoul Radio. We'll be back momentarily. This is HardFoul Network. A place for people of all different interests to come and enjoy their favorite kind of content. Let's meet the people behind said content. First off is the hardest working forehead in sports media. Justin gives his best takes Monday through Friday, 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. Yeah, that's too early for sports, but here we are. Are their rookies good? Are their free agents contributing to the team? Are they well coached? That's when those kind of conversations actually matter and start to show up and mean something. Justin never had a huge passion for school or learning, but sport stuck with him at an early age and uses his 20 years plus as a fan to give you his best insight. Joining him on A&M is Matt. Matt made the mistake of showing Justin how to use a camera.
Like the idea that, like, in a fight, the Toki Toki no Mi is make it someone else's problem fruit. I have magma, I'm unstoppable. And you're like, bet. To the future.
Matt gives his well thought out and informed opinions on your favorite anime and manga and includes his humor and various social takes. May or may not come with sarcasm. Jake is also joining for A&M. Jake has read more bad manga than just about anyone. He is well informed on the genre as a whole, and with his creative way of speaking, he can let you know if your favorite series is actually good or not. Next up is our favorite father. Will is one of the co-hosts on the group chat podcast. You can tell what city he is from the second he starts talking.
Calling somebody the best offensive player in the game of basketball and shitting on him. That's crazy. I would hate to be like really shitting on somebody.
Will is clever, quick-witted, and has a special tone when he speaks. Will is one of the best when it comes to telling you what you need to hear. Last but not least, the president of the Mina Kimes fan club, Tony. Tony's our other co-host on the group chat. He is also our behind-the-scenes show writer.
Thing that Kendrick says in this song, from Drake liking minors to Drake running a sex trafficking ring to he should die. He told Drake's mom, I think the nigga you gave life to should die.
Without Tony, we would be talking in circles with no end. He is also our social media manager. A man of many talents, some might say, and many opinions. Everybody here contributes heavily to the product that we put out. This network has been a dream of Justin's for years. To be able to do it with the people close to him makes it even better. I believe people have multiple interests and are more than just sports fans or anime fans. This network is a place for people of varied interest to come and hang out and embrace being a part of a diverse community. Please show some love and subscribe to not only the YouTube channels, but also find us on Apple Music, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. HardFoul Radio, every single morning, Monday through Friday, 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. Group Chat Podcast, Sunday morning, 10 a.m. release time. A&M, every Friday morning, 7 a.m. Oh man, we are back. Appreciate everybody. Again, we're only an hour today, so we're closing out with this. Again, amazing game one of the NBA Finals. Just some wonderful basketball being played. I want to end today, though, with some football talk. And a lot of people are going to discuss this all throughout their offseason. Excuse me. And I think this is a really simple answer. But a lot of discussion on top 5 quarterbacks. And right now, I think the consensus number 5 is Jalen Hurts. And I think that's valid. I think there is, again, there's all these arguments about better, best, greatest, resume, eye test. There's a bunch of different things you can use to evaluate players, athletes, quarterbacks, etc. I do think, though, there's a very clear Hurts should be number 5. I also don't know if he's going to end the season number 5 unless they win the Super Bowl again. Or if there's a total transformation in his career. Because right now in the NFL, the reality is the 4 best quarterbacks in football. Now, I've had a Matthew Stafford take, but I'm going to remove myself from that. This is the consensus list. Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow, pick your order, right? I'm not going to really argue with you guys 1 through 4. Those are the 4 best quarterbacks in football. Consensus list. Number 5 is and Jalen Hurts has this right now, what have you done for me lately? Because there is a gap, 1 through 4, and then the gap is who's number 5. Because use the age-old, if a team called you right now and said, I will trade you player X for player Y, would you do it? And Jalen Hurts, the Eagles could say, hey, let's even say contracts are the same. All these guys are making a lot of money. Let's just say all the contracts are exactly the same dollar for dollar. We don't have to get nerdy about it. We'll trade you Jalen Hurts for Patrick Mahomes. Chiefs hang up the phone. Trade you Jalen Hurts for Josh Allen. Bills hang up the phone. Bengals hang up the phone. Ravens hang up the phone. Everybody else, you're going to at least have to entertain the conversation. And I know there's other guys that people are like, well, Herbert because of his talent, CJ because of how young. And maybe you don't make the trade, but you're going to entertain it. You're going to look and go, is Jalen Hurts better than what we currently have? And for a lot of teams, the answer is yes. Now, you could say stylistically, you could say, again, there's always going to be disclaimers. And that number 5 spot right now is, what have you done for me lately? Because the other 4 guys, as a consensus list, have separated themselves. Again, I think Stafford should be in that conversation. I think Stafford right now, all things considered, again, we don't have to rehash this, where I think Stafford is. But there's a gap between 4 and 5 in the consensus list. So Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow, those guys are in a class unto themselves. And then Hurts being the 5, which is why for the people that say Hurts is 5, don't go on TV or on podcasts or on YouTube and feel all, oh, well, it's disrespectful to not have him 5. It's disrespectful to not have him closer. He's just not. And the other teams would not trade their quarterback situation for Jalen Hurts. The Ravens aren't trading Lamar for Hurts. The Bengals wouldn't trade Burrow. And the Bengals missed the playoffs. Again, there's all this about the Bengals they're going to be. We're going to give official predictions once the finals are over. But all this, where are the Bengals? Oh, the Bengals missed the playoffs. And they still wouldn't trade Hurts for Burrow or Burrow for Hurts. So, yes, Hurts can be the number 5 quarterback. But it's a gap. Oh, man, appreciate you guys for joining me today. Again, it was only an hour. We got a bachelor party to go to this weekend, so I got to get up out of here. No show Monday. I'm going to have something showing up. Please don't forget, appreciate all of you that have been showing love to the TikTok, the Twitter. I'm interacting on TikTok, so if you want to comment, feel free. Even if it's just making fun of my forehead, I'm here for it. Appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget to check out, there is no group chat or A&M this week. Again, Matt's also with me on said bachelor party trip, so we weren't able to record. And I'll be gone this weekend, so no group chat with Tony and Will. But appreciate everybody as always. This is HardFoul Radio, and I will see you guys.